Hello friends! I thought I might give any of you interested a little peer into what my job is like. I say to people that I edit sheet music, and a lot of people don't even realize that sheet music needs editing. It's just one of those things that you probably don't think about unless you're a musician, and even then, it's probably pretty vague. So I work in this program called Finale, and I have one primary client who yesterday called upon me to work on a very short piece on short notice, which I was happy to do. And I thought I would use it as an opportunity to illustrate to anybody who cares my process, or at least a sped up version of my process. This video I already recorded it yesterday, and I'm going to speed it up 4 times to make it look a lot more interesting. So anyway, starting the video now. The first thing I do is space the staves out there so I can see things a little clearer, what is assigned to each staff. Here what I'm doing is I'm using a fantastic plugin called JW Change, which I'll link, to adjust hairpins en masse and make sure they're assigned correctly and consistently spaced. And then I'm using another plugin here called Align Move Dynamics, which, as you can see, makes all the dynamics and hairpins kind of line up. I'm going to use that more in page view, but for now I'm just sort of setting them all at a sort of a basic line together. Also, I have using that same plugin to fix the pedal markings. I have a little script called pedal reset, which just does what it sounds like. It takes all the pedal markings and sort of just makes them a standard height or depth below the sight or below the staff, and removes any kind of offset they have. And now putting those back, and now starting to work on page view. First thing I do is fix the margins and the staff size by changing the part settings, or the score settings, and just sort of fine adjusting it there. I decided on 6.5 millimeter staff height would make for 3 nicely balanced pages with 3 staves to each system and 3 systems on a page. Right there I had to check the reference file, or the source file, because I messed that measure up right there and had to fix that. Anyway, now I'm going to decide which measure goes in each system and space them all out nicely so that the music sort of flows nicely across the pages, so you don't have any systems with too few or too many measures, so it's not too spaced out, it's not too cramped. And here I'm just adjusting the distance between staves. I can make this pretty spaced out because there's not much music and I want to fit it evenly on 3 pages. Now adjusting the system margins so that when I space them evenly, they will look even. Some systems reach higher or lower than the others because they have low or high notes that push everything out and need more space between systems. For anybody who doesn't know, a system is one of these lines of music. You can see on each page there's 3 systems here. Similar to a line of text. It just sort of reads across the page and then starts over. And now I'm just doing a bunch of fine-tuning. I've already gotten most of the rough tuning, and I'm just removing collisions right there. Those pedal marks need to go out, you can see, because the beam sticks out. Here I realized I can bring the pedal marks up a little bit because it actually doesn't collide with the octava, because I moved the octava. I'd do that later. And I'm fixing up a few fonts. Well, not yet, but just more pedal markings, I guess. just kind of endless little fine-tuning to make it look really nice. Kind of like, imagine it's sort of like laying out a magazine or a graphic presentation of sorts. I do need to get my client a new song template because the fonts are a little outdated. Now I use Garamond for most of the Roman text, except for lyrics, which I'm leaving in Times New Roman because it's really readable. Unfortunately, my version of Garamond anyway isn't super legible when it's italicized, so I use Times New Roman italics for anything italicized. Here's where I figure out that those can consolidate a little bit, adding some room to make it a little more symmetrical. Actually, here's where I can add the composition date. There we go. So the first page is a little more cramped than the other three, but that's often to be expected because you have title, composer, librettist or lyricist, copyright. Here's where I'm just listening back to it. I often listen to the MIDI because I can hear things like right there. I just heard the need for some courtesy naturals. This section over on page 3. This right here especially needs it. There's a bunch of cross relations. When possible, I like to use 2 of my senses to figure things out. So in the case of this, actually, I can hear a few things, like sometimes notation issues, I can hear those, or, weird dynamics, I can hear those. Or need for courtesies, I can hear those. And then I also look for them with my eyes, just because I can often sort of spot them, having read music for long enough. And also listening to the music as it scrolls through gives me a chance to sort of literally scan the music in a kind of slower time frame than I would normally with my eyes. Sort of forces me to look at least at every measure for a split second. I often find it good to do several passes to these things because I find things on almost every pass. I'm usually pretty methodical. This one was a little more haphazard. It's because it was so fast and I could contain it all in my head really easily. Anyway, that's it for this. It's really quick. If you made it to the end of this video, I commend you. I'd love it if you dropped a like. And if you're an engraver, musician yourself, feel free to drop a comment and let me know what you thought. I'd love to hear if you thought this was at all interesting, whether you're a musician or not. I think it's kind of interesting, but anyway, that's all for today. Later.